difficulties. It's Tuesday, it's 7:30, and you all know what that means. The SonarFeed has finally rescheduled as not to conflict with The Bachelor. The SonarFeed brings you live sounder talk from the Berliner Pub located at 221 Main Avenue in beautiful downtown Renton every Monday. Audience participation is welcome and encouraged. If you are in the area, come on down and join our live audience at the Berliner. If you are watching on Ustream, sign into the chat room and join the conversation on live. And, of course, you can send a tweet to SonarFeed to interact with the crew throughout the week. As a special treat, the whole SonarFeed crew is here this week. Aaron Sonar Riley, Lee Real, Hugo Garcia, and this week we have a very special guest that needs no introduction. So here's an elaborate introduction brought to you by the Twitter sensation Pain Machine.
Levesque, he's a wild card in the Sounders deck. Whitecaps beware, Timbers beware. He's coming, he's coming, he's coming. Have you heard what Siggy says and the ladies dish? Roger dodges down for each and every position.
On a floating yoga board, he patrols the sound, holding downward facing dog, just cruising around.
Sir Roger Dodge, man about town. Women love his shag, both verb and the noun.
He'll make a pirate face
And score us a brace. He's coming, he's coming, he's coming. Levesque, captain in his yacht from the hot tub deck. Roll on, Columbia, roll on. He's coming, he's coming, he's coming. Boo him when he scores so fast. Even Timber Joey would kill for that stash.
His beard's got a stash, and that stash got a beard.
He's loved and feared, loved and feared. Ooh.
He loves Timbers, but not the Portland Timbers. 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 Smarter than a raptor, he does crosswords in pen. His hugs are so great, they rate it 12 out of 10.
Eats bullets for food and drinks tears for wine. He wears a goatee in every timeline. Levesque, once bit a twilight in his fucking neck. NPOs beware, causes beware. He's coming, he's coming, he's coming. Wait, he's joining a non-profit?
The Levesque and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Don't his hugs already cure all known diseases?
Too profitable.
And just like that, we are here at the Berliner Pub in episode number 103
103
of SonarFeed.
I know, crazy.
We have a very special guest in the house tonight. The only Roger Levesque. Thank you so much for...
Oh, here we go.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. We even have the Farewell Roger sign.
Farewell Roger sign.
Fair hello.
Yeah.
Fair hello.
Fair hello. We're trying to keep you here now.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, so we're doing something new this week. All you guys out there in the audience, we know you can't see us too well, but you should be able to hear us for the first time ever loudly. Go ahead.
Okay. So thank you for coming down tonight. What we do normally is as we didn't really prep too much for the show, we like to do a little bit of an intro, talk about each other, what we're doing, how life is going, and then we jump right into it. And this week we're going to kind of skip some of the action of the live action, and we're going to spend most of the time talking about you, what you're working on, what's going on with you, and reliving some of your past. Yeah, but
I'd love to hear what's going on with you guys.
you will.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, so My name is Aaron Riley, aka Sonar Riley.
What?
To my left, your right on TV, or video, we have Lee Rael,
Hi, how you doing?
at Lee Rael on Twitter.
At Lee Rail.
Me Vita Seattle, aka Hugo Garcia. And then, of course, Roger Levesque,
The one, the only.
which you're on Twitter, but you're not on Twitter. Correct? Yeah.
He's a Twitter stalker.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have yet to make tweets. I am on there, but
Excellent. Well, good. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
This all started, as many of our guests start, in a beer garden, as I recall correctly.
Well, yeah.
It was the U.S. Open Cup game where we scored, I think, 6 to 1.
6 to 1. It was a big game. It was a great game.
It was a great game.
I was in a really good mood.
I think that was from the beer.
That was from the beer. It was not.
And actually, it was probably from the whiskey before the beer.
Could have been the whiskey. Could have. Who knows? It was a great night though.
It was.
I do know that my wife decided that she wasn't going to talk to me anymore at a certain point that evening, and I think that was before I saw you.
I think it was too. So the show here is 3 guys. We like to drink. We like soccer. We like hanging out at bars. So we decided to put together this little shindig, so to speak, and kind of bring it to the masses. All 12 of them, that watch. Maybe 13. Yeah. Well, that's right. I've got 2 kids now, so maybe it's 15. So yeah,
Gonna be 16 after this one.
Yeah.
I'm locked in.
Yeah. Good. Good. All right. So what we do, just to keep in tradition, we'll keep it short though. I was gone last week. I was on the road.
Yep.
I was in Chicago, actually.
Chicago.
One of my favorite towns. What have you been doing for the last 2 weeks, Mr. My friend?
I have been a lot of work. Work has been busy.
Okay.
A lot of craziness. I went to see Dropkick Murphys last night. It was okay. There's 2 lead singers of the band, and one of the lead singers had a death in the family, so he wasn't there. So that kind of sucked. But the show overall was pretty good even without that.
Where was it at?
Showbox Soto. Yeah, it was fun. What have you been doing, Hugo?
Dude, man, working a lot, that's for sure. I mean, working a lot, spending time with my parents a lot lately. Let's see, I'm also a big Seattle fan, so I support not just the Sounders, but the Seahawks. So with the game starting, I tailgate a lot. So we did our big tailgate for the year, and actually had a big, I want to say about 60 people showed up for the tailgate. We had a local distillery that drove by, and they were just kind of going around showing samples of this, booze basically. And I invited them on Twitter. I was like, hey man, we're here at this spot. Come through. You guys can have some bratwurst. Also, shout out to the brothers. They got us some bratwurst for our tailgate. They were delicious. Beer. But the distillery came back and donated a couple rye whiskeys
Nice.
to the tailgate.
Nice.
So it was a lot of fun, man. It was fun. We played some beer pong. We got into the game. It was a blast. So watch that, man. And watching a lot of our boys for the last couple of matches, big matches. So towards that too.
Good. Excellent. Well, and I was with customers in Chicago, so I was eating and drinking very well. We went out many nights, had a great time, the entire time we were there, which is tough because I'm trying to lose weight. I don't think I'll ever look like you look, and you don't even play soccer professionally anymore. But I'm at 24 pounds now in my Biggest Loser challenge, and
I didn't know that was a weight loss challenge. I just thought you were a loser.
well, yeah, there's 2 things. There's the Biggest Loser, and then there's the weight loss challenge.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm just combining them into one.
Okay, we appreciate
I
that.
think we have echo now.
Chicago food. What you eat down
We
there?
have echo now.
Do you have any of the pizzas? The deep dish? anything
This
good?
time I did not, because I'm trying to watch the weight. But their pizzas, the deep dish pizzas, are phenomenal. I mean, I love deep dish pizza. So you run, and I was there 2 years ago, right before the Chicago Marathon, for a conference. I go every year for a conference. And we sat down at the bar, my coworker and I, and there was a lady there with her friend, and they were running the Chicago Marathon, and the night before, and they were eating like pasta and pizza and all. I mean, like the full spread. And I'm thinking, And the marathons are like, what, 7 or 8 in the morning, so it's pretty early. Would you really want to eat that much heavy food? I know it's all carbs or whatever else, but would you eat that much the night before or like hours before you run?
I think their philosophy was that that meal was a free pass, knowing that they were going to get up and run 26 miles an hour. And I think having that base before you get to, be an early breakfast, it would just be, a bar or yogurt or something. But to have that base, maybe they overdid it just a little bit. But maybe as long as they didn't drink like 7 martinis.
No, they had a couple beers or whatever. But, okay. They can hear me, but not you guys, I guess, right?
Apparently, yeah. So, we're working on it. How
about we just go to that mic?
If I do that, how's that?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay, you guys can hear Roger now?
I'm good. They'll hear me. Trust me, I got a loud voice.
All right.
It's trained for me to capo.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Boom.
Thanks for bearing with us, everybody. We're going to continue now that Roger talked about running. My wife can leave. So,
Okay.
No, she just got done with her last. She did beat the Blur Challenge Coronation. So,
Awesome.
yeah. So she tried what?
How'd it go?
Is that better? She didn't pee. What? Stop. Oh, so she didn't PR this one, but this was her first half marathon this year.
Really?
She's overcome.
Already? Half marathon? She's running?
Yeah. She had a really bad hip injury she was going through. So now she's doing Seattle, and you're getting ready to run New York is in November. Yeah.
New York City Marathon. Yeah, November 2nd.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about that though, because you're not doing it just for running the New York Marathon. You're
To be
doing it
safe.
you're doing it for charity too.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, raising money for an organization called Grassroots Soccer. It does HIV/AIDS awareness education and connects through soccer. It's actually pretty cool.
Nice.
Excellent. And so it's just, I recall it's grassrootssoccer.com, I believe, or .org.
Yeah, .org.
And we have it on our Facebook page. We tweeted it out all day long today on my personal, your personal, all over the place.
I appreciate you guys putting the word out. The running team is something that they've done for 6-7 years now, and it raises a lot of money to go towards the organization. So not only stay in shape, but for definitely for a good cause.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Excellent.
That's awesome.
Well, and what we want to do is that, because we're known to do this, we're going to tell people tonight, and for the rest of the month, we're going to match up to $300 donations that we can raise from the fans and listeners. We're going to put that in as well. So hopefully help you get up closer to your. That should hopefully, because you're at like $1,500 or $1,600 right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Oh,
We'll put in 3, and we'll hopefully get matching of 3. So that'll put you at 2,100. Getting closer.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I really
Hey,
appreciate
you guys hear
it,
that? You guys need to open your wallets tonight.
gentlemen. Also for beer.
Beer. Roger likes beer.
Okay, so now that we've gone over the maintenance, so to speak, of the the charity, we'll keep tweeting it out, et cetera, et cetera.
That's great.
But we want to talk a little bit about you, because you're why we're all here tonight. Not us. No one wants to listen to us, really. We want to talk about you.
Mostly.
So you're known as the Stash. Your nickname, one of your nicknames, probably one of your many nicknames. Have you always had that awesome stash, or is it something recent?
I think it started in the USL days. Back when small town team, and I always like to mix things up a little bit. The problem is, this is kind of how it grows. This is about all I get. I definitely can't, mix in the full beer.
Oh, I can't either. I've been trying for 30 years.
I shaved today because I didn't want to have. I get sick of the neck. The neck kills me after a while, and I can't do that anymore.
I feel it too, because for some reason I can't get anything on. But here, it's about how much it goes. Can't get that beer going, man. As much as I tried a little bit last year for November. I think we might do something too next month.
Yeah, so Movember starts obviously November 1st,
Right.
and every year we do it.
Okay.
And we've done every year being this is our 3rd year.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it if I'm going to be in the Philippines.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be hot there.
Well, you might have to pretend to do it then.
Yeah, I'll just
Raise money.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
You know, and we've raised, I don't know, $600 or $800 in the last couple of years, that much, which is, you know, minor, but it helps. Every penny helps.
Especially for prostate cancer.
Yes.
Especially when you guys get to talk about your mustaches.
Exactly.
I can't beat that.
Exactly.
I usually go for the full-on, like, all right mustache, you know?
Handlebars. I like it.
Epic, dude.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. Actually, it is. I gotta say, I kind of like it. So. All right, and then, so you played soccer your whole life, obviously, right? I mean, you little kid on up.
Yep. Yeah. Played. Soccer wasn't my first love though. Basketball, baseball. Dad was a baseball player, so that was early on. We loved playing basketball through high school. I mean, grew up in a small town in Maine, going to these little gyms.
Also in the 90s, right? This is when like NBA, Jordan was at its peak, the rivalries. I mean, basketball was my favorite sport too. So who was your favorite player growing up?
I mean, so I grew up in Maine, so loved the Celtics of the 80s. It was a little bit before when I was watching, but I mean, Larry Bird was always the guy. And then as I, sort of learned to appreciate it a little bit more and not just, sort of regionally.
Right.
Jordan was tough to, not to watch every weekend.
Do you ever remember watching the Sonics or Gary Payton or the Rain Man? 95, 96. Got a finals against Jordan. Oh man, that was awesome.
I mean, Sean Kemp sticks out because I remember playing video games with him. He had this sick dunk from the three-point line that you go and press the right buttons. I mean, it was unstoppable.
That's awesome, dude.
Love it. All right, and then you went to Stanford.
Yep.
So you're obviously not you're obviously a smart guy.
Well,
a little bit.
Soccer definitely helped in that regard.
Okay.
So as I got older, that's when started focusing more and more on soccer. Gave me the best chance to continue to play, but then also to get a good education. And so that's sort of, at one point I veered off and started focusing more on soccer.
Did you finish school when you were at Stanford?
I did.
You did, okay. So you went all the way, got your undergrad, finished that off. Okay. That's one thing I couldn't remember if you had done or not.
Well, since he's in grad school, it would imply that he did finish.
But I didn't know if he finished it at the time or if you went back to it and kind of tried to recap.
Go back a little bit. If you could go back and choose any sport in high school to play professionally or go into college with, would it still have been soccer, or would you maybe have played basketball or baseball?
I mean, I would say, given where I have ended up and the appreciation I have for, Seattle Sounders organization and being in this moment, I wouldn't change it. Yeah.
That's good.
It's definitely appreciate everything that you went through, and looking at it like the way that is. That's awesome.
Thank you. Well, it's brought me here sitting with you guys, chatting about soccer, drinking some beers.
Speaking of beers,
I mean, life could be a lot worse.
That's our life. That's what we do. I mean, it's awesome.
So cool.
Okay, so then you were drafted by the San Jose Earthquakes.
Yes.
In 2003.
Boo.
And you played for them a little bit, but then you got hurt playing U23s in a friendly, right, if I recall?
Yep.
Okay. So then you came here.
on a loan,
he was
right?
out,
It was a
a loan.
Yep.
So you went from there, and of course we were smaller. It wasn't like it is now, but you played for San Jose for a couple of years. But you played only a handful of games, right?
Yeah, just a few.
A few.
Yeah.
But you came up here and kind of became like home, right? Is that a fair assessment over the years, or did it take a long time to kind of feel like this was home?
No, I think for me, so right off the bat, I didn't know much about Seattle, but I knew the organization and I knew my teammates at that point.
Okay.
So coming up for a month in 2003, getting to know Adrian, getting to know Brian, and then getting to know the guys that were on the team, made it a lot easier to come back the next 2 years.
Okay.
And then, finally when I got released by San Jose, I think at the end of the 2005 season, it was an easy choice to then transition into Seattle full-time. That was
2006, right?
Yeah, 2006.
Yeah, at the end of 2005, end of 2006 season.
2003 was a San Jose championship year, wasn't it?
Yes. Yep.
So technically, you have won an MLS Cup. Technically.
I do have a ring.
Oh, do you really? So you got a ring. Okay.
There you go.
Not quite sure where it is at this point, but I think in a box in my mom's basement somewhere, but I don't know. It's out there.
That's awesome. I love it.
But also that year, so interesting twist. My first game up in Seattle, so I drove up and drove straight to UW, where the USL Sounders were playing San Jose in an Open Cup match that day.
Nice.
And so I mean, not knowing Seattle at that point, or the team, I sat on the San Jose bench, but didn't play, and watched Seattle win 1-0 against this MLS team. And so that was my introduction into Sounders soccer. So pretty good way to start.
That's one way to do it.
That is a badass start, dude.
Turn the sound off for a minute on the bigger screen. Okay. All right. That's fine. Okay. So now, in theory, we're going to turn it off for right now because the feedback we're getting is that we're not getting good audio
From the crowd.
Into the puck.
No, and here we're fine.
Okay.
Well, here we're having the same problem because it's getting echoed. So we're going to turn it off for now.
Fine.
We'll post it, etc. But this way we'll have better sound.
This is great.
So, but I'm worried that this one's still not working. Right? Yeah, this is not. I have no idea, dude. It's not working. It hasn't worked the whole entire show. So we'll just use this and we'll call it game. Okay. All right. So, sorry for that little interruption.
No, we're good.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
So now,
Let us know.
tighter, Roger. I can come tighter. Don't worry.
All right. So let us know in the chat room if that's a little better sound-wise, and if you can hear us a little better. Hopefully you can.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
We got rid of the overhead, so
And the volume in here has increased quite a bit.
it has.
So
It has quite.
we will get this figured out at some
Oh
point.
yeah, no questions.
All right. So then,
Anyway.
one of the things I was doing a little research on, I did not realize this. You actually were voted 19 in the top 25 USL players of the decade of the 2000s.
Wow, man.
Which I didn't realize that, to be honest with you. So, I mean, that's a pretty cool.
That is pretty
you know,
cool,
I mean,
man.
so when you started though, backing up, and I'm framing this up in a big question. I like to talk a lot.
Right.
It takes a long time to get there. So you're smart, so hopefully you'll follow where I'm going.
Yeah, I'm working on
No, I'm
it.
kidding. No, but when you started, yeah, exactly. When you started though, did you aim to play? I know you wanted the taller scholarship, but did you aim to play MLS? Did you aim to play at pro level, or you go to school, soccer was good, and you were looking to the future of business world or what have you? Or do you know that answer? I mean,
No, I do. Yeah. A well thought out answer. Now, each year for me, each level that I played was always a reevaluation point. So, high school, I used soccer to get into a good school. Wasn't sure if I could compete. You know, I was going to one of the top teams in the country. I was from a small town in Maine, and I didn't know. And so, initially, it was all right. You know, do the work to try and figure out if I can play at this level, and then kind of go from there. And so for me, it took a couple of years to really adjust. Ended up having a successful career at Stanford. We had a really good team, and then it sort of fell into, well, maybe I'll give it a shot in the MLS. I mean, I don't think it crossed my mind that I would end up playing for 10 years. And having that long of a career. It was play a couple of years and then sort of see how it goes. And for me, it was always a reevaluation after each season. Spend the off season kind of thinking about it, and that continued well into the USL days and then into MLS. By the time I was playing USL, I was coaching youth soccer. I loved the team, I loved the city, and it was an easy decision through those years. But then, as sort of the MLS Sounders came along, it was sort of a whole new animal where I wasn't entirely sure. So, I mean, I didn't expect to play professionally. I was focused on the moment most of the time and doing the best I could at that time, and then sort of seeing where it took me.
that's cool. I mean, that's good. I mean, that's kind of
That kind of leads exactly into, you technically retired fairly young
right.
to go back to school.
Because you're the youngest person at this table.
You are.
I was like, early today, I was like, dude, Roger, I'm older than Roger.
See, we knew we were older than you, but he was all like, I'm younger.
I'm a dude, 30, I'm 1 year older than you. Like,
You're born in 80, right?
I was born in 80.
And you're 81, so yeah.
Yeah.
I'm 75, so I'm
Okay.
I'm
Out of the
grandpa.
conversation.
Well, what if you're grandpa? What the hell am I?
Great grandpa.
Great grandpa. Thanks. Wow.
There's one big happy family here.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
But that's interesting, as you know, that you say you evaluated it year by year. Because I, as witness to this room and the people that have been through here this evening, you have a huge following in Seattle. I mean, Seattle sports, you are a legend. I mean, you are. I mean, it's weird to say that because I think you're a normal person. These guys like Dave he's been since 7 o'clock this morning. Roger.
So we have a private text combo that we have between all of us. And we're like, dude, today, Roger.
So, but
I'm a fangirl. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a fangirl. I'm not gonna lie.
But as that happened, as you made that decision a couple of years ago,
Yep.
what was the? I mean, I know you told this in other interviews and stuff, but what was that driving point for you to leave soccer professionally to go do something else?
Right. I mean, I think for me, over the last couple of years of my involvement with the team, my role had changed a little bit. There was moments when, I was in it, I was playing, and doing well, and then there was other moments where, it wasn't going so well. And for me, up until that point, I had sort of done the work and thought about, what was going to be next. And so, as my sort of involvement transitioned more to the community stuff and more to the team rather than the soccer, it became more and more apparent in my mind, that making an impact was important going forward. And then making the decision that business school at UW was the right path. As far as stepping away in the middle of a season, I didn't have that planned from the beginning of that year. Went through preseason and expected to play and put in the work and was excited to be a part of that team. But having the conversations that I had with the organization, with coaching staff and with teammates, it just became, it became visible that was, that was the right thing to do in that moment.
Sure. Going back a little bit, did you ever have, you mentioned the transition of you living in the moment, from the USL to Stanford, the USL to the pros. Did you ever have a moment where you're like, you have that I made it moment, like, wow, I'm a professional athlete. Did you have a moment, or did you have something that had a knock in your butt, like, yeah, dude, I'm a pro?
I mean, I think not to discount all my experiences leading up to the first game with the Sounders in 2009, with the USL team and even in San Jose, that first MLS Cup. But, really the moment that really sort of has stuck with me and sticks with me is walking out of the tunnel during that first game, not really knowing what to expect, going from USL to MLS and, just sort of this, what is this going to be like? No one really knew. And so walking out of the tunnel and just, kind of looking around and hearing the roar of the crowd and seeing, and the Seattle Sounders chant. From that moment was, I think really hit home like, wow, this is huge and this is awesome.
It was. I totally remember that 09, that first game in 09, and the first time I heard the Seattle chant, man, I remember the chills, the back of my neck. I was like, wow. I was with my brother and I was like, dude, are you really is this real life? I was like, is this real life? Wow, this is badass, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was a moment. But then, coming out the second game, was it going to change? Was it just this energy from the first, and then, to having it, be sort of, to see that over and over again,
yes,
and
standard
even
operating procedure.
And then we're going to go to the game on Friday, and it's going to be, huge.
55, 60,000
It's going to be, and just to see that is, still gives me the chills. Exactly what you said.
So, okay, since you say that, do you pay for tickets, or do you just make a phone call? Coach, I need some tickets. I mean, because that's what we do.
Hey Zig, what are you up to? No.
I thought it'd be more Brian than Ziggy, but I figured you'd have a better chance with Brian, but that's just me.
So I usually, I usually find my way there under different capacities, whether it's something through the organization. This year's been great because it's been a lot of 40th anniversary stuff.
Yes.
So 2005 USL team, 2007 on Friday we'll be there. A group of 80 people who have been involved in the Sounders in the past. We'll all be there. So
can I ask you something real quick? In the USL days, did you guys ever go to, because you guys used to play at Memorial Stadium, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Do you guys ever used to go to a Mexican restaurant by Lower Queen Anne called Jalisco's?
Jalisco's.
Or Taqueria Jalisco's, they call it TJ's?
Yes. So I was.
Hugo's on.
This is great.
You weren't here for
I know. I have been to Jalisco's. So I wasn't on the team when they played at Memorial Stadium. I showed up after they had made the jump to CenturyLink.
Okay.
But we did go to Jalisco's. I think it was maybe the second year I was there. We had a team outing at Jalisco's. We got all the young guys singing, but great spot.
It is. So like in high school, I used to, be a busboy there. And back in the 90s, when the Sounders were playing there, the team used to come over the time and hang out afterwards and stuff.
Yep.
Talking about Jalisco Mexican food, tacos, real quick. This is a question that I want to make sure I ask.
Got it.
Favorite taco? What kind of taco you like? Favorite taco spots in Seattle?
Taco spots, Mexican
The
restaurants.
critical questions, folks.
I know
This
you're
is where
jumping
we're
ahead.
at.
I know you were way ahead.
I know, but I just got to get in there.
You should read the notes sometime.
Oh, yeah.
Now that you've
Go
got
ahead.
the question
Go
out
ahead,
there, let's
yeah.
go ahead and have you answer it.
Do love tacos, carne asada. I've flirted with being a veggie in the past. So some butternut squash tacos with some black beans.
Cactus. I would recommend cactus.
Cactus.
Yeah, cactus is actually pretty good. Yeah. I like that.
Matador. So we've been to the Matador. A few times recently. Their nachos. I have a good friend who is a nacho connoisseur, and that's one of her favorite, nacho spots in the city. So there's been a few times throughout my the last 10 years when I've been in Seattle that I've ended up at Pesos once or twice.
Get a couple tacos there later night.
You got to do that sometimes.
Tacos for Sunday brunch. Watching football.
Why not? Oh, yeah. It's a win-win.
Perfect.
So we have a couple of important moments in Sounder lore / Roger life.
Yes.
And the first one we want to talk about, because I was at this game, neither one of these fools were there.
Okay.
48 seconds.
Yep.
Are you at the 48 seconds game?
I was, yes.
You were at
I was, yes.
I did not know
I was.
you, dude.
I was.
Side to that.
Before you guys showed
That's
up,
fine. I'll do it anyways.
before you showed up, I actually watched soccer. So that was a really cool game, and not only was that a really cool game, but to go to the Dragon's Den, as it were, and slay the dragon that quickly, you suck the wind out of that entire stadium. Because not only did you suck the wind out, you did it in front of Timbers Army.
Yes.
At their goal, in front of them. What a goal. I mean, that was one of those things that you knew right there. You had cemented your place in history forever. Did you feel that at the time, or did it hit you after the game, like, that really happened?
Yeah, it all happened too soon for anyone to even realize. I think most people were still trying to get a beer and get to their seat in the stadium. This is the first time I've thought about it, but I like to think that maybe I took it personally that, when I spent a game playing for the Timbers in the transition. So 2008, we weren't really sure if we were going to have a team here in Seattle. And so I played a game up in Vancouver in an exhibition against LA, and then went down and played with Portland against Toronto. And they had a sign up that said, "True fans hate Levesque." And so I had a little bit of a bone to pick with the Timbers Army at that point. So I was just upset. I was upset that it took 48 seconds. 30 would have been a lot better, right?
But I mean, that was and I remember Nate running up to you. I mean, and that was the Nate Roger days, and Sebastian too. I mean, that was all the USL guys just coming out and putting in just so much hard work that first couple of seasons. And, it's interesting to see. I mean, you've retired. Brad's still with the team, of course. I was at the Open Cup a what, 2 weeks ago? 8 weeks ago?
Oh, you were out in
Yeah,
Philly?
yeah, I went to Philly.
Oh, awesome.
But it was interesting to see the team. So we had a picture with the guys. He was there. We were just talking about Philly.
Philly was great.
Well, there was a picture of the 4 guys still on the team that have been on 4 Open Cups, and then there was the picture of the supporters in front of the game. And it's like the crowds have dwindled down from where it was 50 or in Kansas City. I was there in DC and all that stuff. But that cemented everything right there for you. And for me, I mean, that was just like boom, done.
Well, yeah, in 48 seconds, you helped secure our first Open Cup trophy.
Yeah.
Granted, I think there's a little bit of this. We didn't win one after you left for a couple of years. So it's kind of the Roger curse a little bit there. We're now over that, thankfully.
Right.
It's gone.
Yeah, let's starting a new streak.
Yeah.
Bigger and better this time.
That's right.
So let me ask you, somebody on Facebook, on the Barra Fuerza Verde Facebook group asked, comparing that 11 U.S. Open Cup champ team that you're on to this year's team, there's some people on there that were debating that team may have been deeper or maybe even better than this year's team. I know, we didn't have Dempsey at that time, but comparing the depth of the team and how much you guys did, how do you guys think you guys stack up comparing 11 to this year's?
This year's team I think is tough to compete with. I think the most talented team, from the first player to the last that we've had here in Seattle. Maybe it's a little bit different perspective for me at this point because I am a fan and I'm like, God, these guys are good. And it's so cool to watch and so cool to see. We did have some good teams here in Seattle and had some phenomenal players. There's no question about it. But I think the momentum that this team has built throughout the year, and they proving themselves with the Open Cup championship, playing for another championship on Friday, and then hopefully continuing forward. It's tough not to root for these guys.
I do need to point out that everybody who's watching at home and out here in the audience that can hear me, notice that Roger just called the Cascadia Cup a championship. Because that's really important. And as we're talking about memories and stuff like that, and going through, what is your favorite Sounders memory? USL, MLS, doesn't matter.
Right. I think for me, it's all about the people that I've had a chance to sort of meet and be a part of their lives, throughout the whole experience of it. I talk about the guys I played USL with, and those are still some of my best friends. We still have a very tight knit group. The guys I play in San Jose with are still some of my best friends. I play fantasy football against those guys every year.
How's the team doing this year?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Not scoring a lot of points, but fortunately teams are scoring a lot of points against me, which is good.
As long as we get to the playoffs, that's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. And then thinking about the MLS, not only the guys and the organization, but the fans that in the city of Seattle that made the transition from the USL and then have turned it into what it is. It's like meeting people who are passionate about soccer, and that's been the fondest memory.
So you came in about 2 hours ago.
Yep.
A little under 2 hours ago, and you came in and you were immediately surrounded. It's great. I was gonna say swamped or inundated by the fans who were here. And it was interesting to watch that there obviously are a few that or quite a few that you have seen on a number of times, and you remember them. So you obviously are. Wherever you go, I'm guessing, like at Oktoberfest last weekend, I saw so many pictures on Facebook and Twitter of like, hey, I was with Roger, and I saw this picture. You were tagging all these pictures. You get noticed everywhere, but you remember people. You actually look for their names and you want to know their people's names. Like when Sarah left, you asked what her husband's name was. All this confirmation. I love that. To me, that shows what a good person you are. And I watched your interaction with the people, and I love that. It's not awesome.
So now you have a job reference.
I love it, and I love to hear your
Shout out.
answers.
We got someone saying hi from Sydney, Australia. That's awesome.
Tony's there? Yeah, Tony's nice.
That's cool, man.
Hey, Tony.
Tony's one of our, he guest hosts sometimes.
Yeah. What's up, Tony? We miss you up here.
Okay, so now we have to back up. We're going to take a quick time out.
Got it.
Back up. We've had on some of the Sounders Academy's players. We've had on Alan Hinton, Gasman, some other folks.
Okay.
And
We're working on Coach Spencer now.
Yeah, we want to get Spencer on here.
Yeah.
I'll give him. Yeah, I'll give him a little nudge.
Good nudge.
He watches the show.
He tweets. He
watches
tweets us
back.
back.
He's tweeted us. He's like, he's admonished Lee for swearing.
But it was
when
him.
He told me to stop eating bad food on the road trip, man. I was like,
He is the best ever. He cracks me up.
So we named our caravan, our car too. That we took a road trip to Utah to the RSL game, a couple months or a month and a half ago.
Yeah, 2 months ago.
And the name of our car was
The Schmetzergini.
Schmetzergini.
After the Open Cup, and we were at the bar, he comes up and he comes walking over. I was like, Coach. He's like, Lee. Grabs my drink out of my hand and goes, damn, you Sonar guys always have the best stuff. And hands me back my drink.
It's so good.
I love it. Okay, so we have a question that we ask everybody now.
Okay.
It's important.
It is important.
Got it.
very important.
Biggie
All right.
or
A
Tupac?
lot of pressure on this one.
I know.
Biggie or
What's
Tupac?
that?
The Biggie or Tupac?
Biggie or Tupac? I'd say Biggie. Sticking with the East Coast, East Coast.
The roots.
So that would.
Biggie also doesn't come out with a couple dead CDs a year, so.
So if you had to choose Portland, Maine or Portland, Oregon?
Yeah, well, I'm Portland, Maine through and through.
Okay. I know it's kind of easy
I
question.
I do love the West Coast, and that's the only thing.
I'm a convert too, so
I grew up in the Midwest, so I've been here since '91, and I don't want to live anywhere else. I mean, I love it.
We would really like it if you lived somewhere.
I know you would. It's not going to happen, but I know you'd like it.
They were hoping you ended up in Chicago again this week.
I could live there as an adult, though. I would. Chicago, I could probably live in. But,
You pass me a goloso?
all right, so now I have another question for you. Another one of our normal ones.
Yep.
And we did this a lot with the Academy kids.
Okay.
Do you have a team that you followed before the Sounders, or like an EPL team, or like a international team that you follow?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, but I'm
That you
not
want to
gonna
admit to
tell
it.
you.
If you don't want to admit to it, I
No,
understand.
I did for sure. So in college, we were Manchester United was a team that continued to come up. Our coach was Bobby Clark, friends with Sir Alex Ferguson, and that was '99 was the year they won the treble. And so I didn't watch a lot. I didn't watch a lot of soccer, prior to that.
Sure. You really couldn't though, too. In some ways.
How are you gonna? Not like we have it now. Yeah, but that year, just being part of a group who was invested in in a team like Manchester United, and watching the Champions League final. It's like, can they score? They always score. And so from then on, it's been me.
That's good to know.
I'm sure that's
I'm
probably
glad
different than.
That helps sway him higher.
No, he's actually a Man United fan.
I am. So I became a soccer fan when Drew Carey raised the 12th man flag.
Yep.
I was there.
That was the day, and I was there too. I was a season ticket holder for the Seahawks.
Okay.
My wife does not care for American football. She loves soccer, or football, right, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
And she's not here tonight because she's with my daughter at Girl Scouts, but she wanted to be here.
Okay.
So, but that was the day that when they said they were going to announce that they were going to have soccer in Seattle. I mean, I know we did, but I didn't know about USL. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm a bad guy, but I didn't know about it. So
most people didn't know about the USL.
now I understand. I'm all about all soccer.
All about it,
I mean,
yeah.
from here to here, it doesn't matter what level you're talking about now. So that was my
Trust me,
first
we're getting
moment.
really tired of the U5 soccer story.
My son's playing U5.
Is you
My
five?
kid scored! Really? In Bumblebee soccer? That's awesome.
It was awesome. He took the ball, drove the first game, and then the best part was at the end when we were leaving, because he's number 2. He
Okay.
goes, "I am Dempsey."
Oh,
I should have had him in 24, but I'm sorry. But
better choice. He's going to score a lot more goals as number 2.
number 2. But yes, that was my first experience. So for me, I didn't know a lot about soccer. So Man U, of course, they were dominant. So
They're a brand. I mean, they're not
they
just
are.
a team; they're a brand.
Right.
And it's we're starting to see those brands come out.
Well, we are that team in some regards.
We
Sounders
are,
are the Man U in a way.
We are- we are
LA
the
Galaxy
brand,
maybe. The Red Bulls tried to be, but weren't successful enough, I think.
Yeah, the manufactured rivalries.
Right. Well, yeah, that's a different story.
We'll talk about that later. But
Right.
We'll have a lot more drinks with that one.
Okay, how about this one? This
this is a good one. I like this one.
and you don't have to answer it necessarily.
You do.
Okay.
We hope it's Brad Evans. I mean,
Your favorite teammate that you've played with, and or worst if you want to say that.
Do I
but-
get to see who's asking the
Who asked
question?
that?
What was that?
Did they ask you?
What? I can't see it.
No, we're not sure. who
Mine
asked
stopped
it.
working. Sorry.
Okay.
Favorite teammate?
Yeah, your favorite teammate, and or if you want to talk about someone, you know, who maybe or rivalry or whatever with a teammate or whatever.
Right. So I
Or who are
think
you still closest to, maybe?
right. I mean, still close with a lot of guys. You know, a lot of dudes. So just spent the weekend in Leavenworth with Taylor Graham and Nate Jakwa.
yeah.
And there, you know, and Pacific Northwest guys that are still in the Pacific Northwest. I've known Taylor for a long time.
Yep.
Went to Stanford together. You know, a guy that comes to mind, I mean, right now is Mike Pacito.
Which is one of my questions. Yeah. So how's he doing? Because that was actually one of the questions.
Was it?
Is that how is he doing?
Meaty's Mikey's good. Yeah, he's down in San Jose. Has had some injury, you know, difficulties, in which you know has sort of plagued his career. Did in Seattle, and you know, and he's had a good run at it. He played some games up in Sacramento. Scored a bunch of goals for them.
and they take the title.
They took the title.
Sacramento takes the USL.
Yeah, but yeah, no, Mikey's doing really well. I chatted with him the other day, and I think he's at a little bit of a crossroads and trying to figure it out as well.
Well, he's another guy. He went to Harvard, right? So another smart guy like you. Another guy who, another guy who took his career to good heights.
Yep.
Did well, like you did, obviously. And he was a local fan favorite.
He has, like you, a cult following.
Yeah. Me and my brother always referred to him as Pitbull. Dude, that dude was Pitbull.
We all know that Lickett and Dave Clark are on the Mike Pacito bandwagon, Church of Pacito type stuff.
Oh, for sure.
It's good to see, and I know it's been this way for Brad, for you. Mike was one of those guys. Sebastian Letou, his first MLS season.
Yep.
Really, it's really cool to see players get treated with such high regard for doing the smallest things. I mean, in Seattle, it doesn't take much to become, one of those awesome players. So, I mean, you did it in 48 seconds, for Christ's sake. It can't be that hard.
Wow, really?
We're gonna have him back now.
But I mean,
I'm gonna cross off never coming back on
No,
that.
that one time Roger came. So
I'm sorry.
No worries.
Everybody knows I'm a ball buster.
It's good. I like it.
But it's he's one of those guys. Mike's one of those guys. Brad's one of those guys. And like I said, Sebastian coming from the USL days, I think he may have been the first one. He may have been the first Super Sounders, the first everybody loved Sebastian. Letou. I remember 2009 Open Cup, being at Starfire. That was playing everything at Starfire, and just Sebastian had one of the best scorers in U.S. Open Cup history. But it's cool to see that.
No, go for it.
no, by all means.
I was just gonna say, which is why. So watching that Open Cup game, the championship against Philly, and seeing, obviously pulling for the Sounders, but seeing Seb on the other side, and how much it meant to him, and just like heartstrings a little bit, goes out to him in that situation, because this year has put it into another gear.
Yeah.
It's just like it's been phenomenal, and
Such a class guy.
class act. You're exactly
Totally.
right.
And it goes along. I hate to say that Seattle invented classy soccer players, but we did.
And I think that's
But look
part
at
of
the career.
why I think the community appreciates and loves you guys is because you guys recognize it, appreciate it. I don't know if it's maybe because you spend time like you do. Everybody gets a chance to say hi, shake hands, and you don't see that every day in sports nowadays. So it's great to be able to interact, to actually be like, oh yeah, I took a photo. Maybe with social media you see it more often. But hey, I took a photo with Roger. I saw him, at this place, and he was cool. And it's that bit of a bond with the community that I think we really appreciate. We all really, really appreciate.
I think it speaks, and again, I'm a family man, right? I mean, that's something that I bought 4 tickets. Shut up. I bought 4 tickets when I only had my one daughter, because we knew we were going to have we were planning on having a second kid, and then we actually, looking back, my wife was pregnant with my son at the first game. So when you talked about that, whatever it was, the 30,000 plus, I mean, holy cow! And that was my first professional soccer match ever. And I mean, and talk about like mainlining, right? I mean, that just changed everything. Because I was the Seahawks season ticket holder, right? And when I remember going to the Giants game where we blew the record out, whatever it was, the 17 false starts, whatever it was. I mean, I almost feel like the Sounders game was louder with less people. But it was a different crowd. It was a different energy.
It was something special, man. The energy, the air.
And Freddie scoring.
Like, I will never forget that feeling,
I'm getting goosebumps. I mean, just everything. And then, someone like you who came up to the ranks, and we've had, for the most part, minus a few players, I think a really, truly different organization. And I think partly because we're all fans, homers.
We're homers.
But it feels like we have that perfect equation from the management, to the fan base, to the everything that just kind of puts together, to the players. The weather. The weather, The weather plays good and bad. Good and bad.
Blue skies.
So let me take a... We're at about 8:24.
So I think
in about 5 minutes here, I'm gonna go out and invite some people up here to ask some questions because our mic went out, but we're gonna invite them up to ask some questions.
Okay.
You're okay still for about a half hour or so?
Yeah.
He's got 2 beers.
I'm sad. At least I'm gonna be well hydrated.
All right.
Speaking of which, we also have Golasso in the house. Yes.
Let me ask a question here. Economics of the game.
Okay.
Coming up.
Carry the 2.
Exactly. See?
Got it.
You got Dempsey, Henry, Keane, Oba, those guys.
Yep.
Then you got
Defoe, Bradley, those guys that thought they could play in the MLS.
Well, wow.
Jeez, dude. Oh!
Hey, don't just lob those out there like that.
But then, so you got the multi-million dollars, and then you got the $40,000, $35,000 a year guys, right?
Okay.
And everyone in between.
Right.
Is that hard to be in there making $40,000, $50,000 a year? Granted, you're doing something you love, playing with guys.
Let's take a
that are
guy like
making millions.
Zach Scott. He's a great example.
Zach Scott, yeah.
He's never been a money player, but he is an institutional player. Sounders through and through, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Playing up against somebody like Clint, who's making
$6 million.
$6 million a season, or Oba, which is new contract, $3 million-ish, somewhere around there.
Right.
Is it hard for those guys? Is it hard? Not the generation of Adidas guys that have their contracts, but those utility players that are coming on, they're playing professional soccer, they're doing a great job for the team, but they're only bringing in
50,000, 60.
League minimum, so 48 to 70K.
It's still decent money compared to someone, working at McDonald's, but it's not a lot of money for someone who's doing a professional sport, right? I mean, you look at baseball or football or hockey or basketball. They're making millions of dollars. Or soccer anywhere else, right? Yeah.
I mean, I think for me, I can speak for Seattle. I don't know how that sort of situation shows up in other clubs, but in Seattle, it's not, it definitely doesn't define the team, and I think that comes from the history of the club, and just this feeling of how Seattle does it a little bit differently. Other clubs may do it the same way, but there was never an issue. Talking about salaries, it's all public knowledge. So everybody knows what everyone else is getting paid.
Which we all know. It's sport. That's just sports management. We all know that eventually we're going to find out what happened behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm. And everyone's realistic. We're all, I think all the players in Seattle are just so appreciative of being in that situation. The guys who, like a Zach Scott, who, has worked his way up, has battled his way all the way through. Even, other guys who have played in other clubs and have seen the other side of it. And to be in a situation where you can, play professional soccer in Seattle, as professional as the organization is, as awesome as the fan base is. And so it's like, everyone makes enough to live and makes enough to do well and live comfortably. Guys are pushing to continue to have a bigger impact, and maybe that leads to a bigger contract. But day to day in the locker room, it's not in the conversation in Seattle.
That's good.
So that is good. But can I throw a follow-up question here because this is a little controversial. When you have somebody in your locker room
Who does this?
who might be, I mean, we've seen this before. Jay Rosario did it and lost out, I think, big time. Lost a lot of credibility with his fan base. We saw it with Eddie Johnson. When you have those type of people in the locker room, from a professional sports side of things, is that hard for you guys as athletes to? I mean, are you guys able to separate those type of antics from playing the game and being responsible athletes for the fans?
You know, that it comes down to, you know, something like that. It comes down to maybe the health of the locker room, the health of the team. You know, there's a fine line between, you know, being a professional athlete, being able to, you need to look up for yourself. You need to be able to provide for your family. You need to, I think, you know, there's definitely a line that you can cross where it becomes more about you than it does about the team. And you know, I don't know what that line is, and I think it's different for each team. With each player, you know, I think there is a little bit of credibility that gets lost, and the thing that we've prided ourselves in Seattle is that we're all in this together. You know, I mean, you go into each week trusting Ziggy and Brian and the coaching staff, Tommy, Ezra, to put out the plan of what we need to do, and then the players to step up, and everyone has their role. But at the end of the day, it's like we're all in this for regardless of what happens. As long as we win, hey, it's going to be a great week of training next week. And I think money clouds it a little bit. And I think it probably maybe in soccer less so because it's less important.
I mean, it is, but not in like.
So you've been an outsider, for the last 2 years, right? Okay, so and I said before the show, you don't have to answer any of the questions you don't want to answer, but where you were, maybe go more direct.
Yep.
When I watch Oba and Clint right now, I see, or Papa, or any of the guys on the team right now, Pineda, I see an absolute. I see an absolute, like, when they score a goal, the other guy comes running up with the biggest grin on his face you've ever seen in your life. Like they're happy. Last year, especially when we were going through our downturn, especially after this happened, we went through a struggle. It looked like when the team was not at all together. I mean, it was more like this than like this. And right now, so, I don't know, there's not really a question there. I guess I'm just saying, is that something that, from an outside world, where when you see him on the field happy, smiling, etc., versus the kind of whatever, does that carry over to the locker room? Is that something that maybe you never experienced it because you were in Seattle and you had it good? So no, I was talking about the other guy, EJ, which I love EJ as a player. He's a great player on the field, but he's about me. He always, and I'm sorry, but it's not an unknown. I know that's my. I've always felt that way.
Because he's upset that the focus isn't on him.
Oh, wow. Yeah. No,
I think we probably all have our moments, and
I do.
I mean, there's no question about it. Some teams, just figure it out. It comes down to personnel and how personalities, fit in. You need, look at the Sounders now, and how deep and how talented this team is. There's going to be guys who don't dress, guys who maybe even deserve to start, who don't dress each week, who need to come in with the attitude of, hey, it's for the team, like I'll get my chance at some point, but and
that's kind of interesting because this week alone there was an interesting article, a piece in Sounder Heart about Kovar and him not getting the starts that everybody thought he was, thinking that he's going to be the next DeAndre Edlin, which is interesting.
But then it came out today that Ezra said that those two, Kovar and Okoli had actually developed at a very strong pace outside of the first team light, which is something that's going to be interesting here in Seattle as we look at our USL team or what happens there. We don't know what's going to happen there, but hopefully something will happen there.
Well, Kovar got the assist in the reserve game. They tied in Colorado, and Kovar whipped it in, and Andy Rose.
That was
great.
From Twitter, it was beautiful.
Sean Okoli, I didn't see it. And then Sean Okoli is getting called into the under 23s.
I know. And Jordan Morris too, which is awesome. I mean, it's good to see our homegrown players and our young players, really getting an opportunity to shine. I mean, I know working with Tab alone, it's going to be a great experience for those guys in the U23 team, and getting that U.S. feel. I mean, but also being able to come home and have guys like Clint and and DeAndre and Brad, who have the last year. I mean, Clint of course a lot longer, but Brad and DeAndre have that experience and they can just go and work with those guys right away. Be like, hey, this is what you need to do. Go find this person, go get that. Kind of like lay the groundwork for those guys and kind of really help them out. That's awesome.
All right, so we have a question from the audience here.
A question.
We have Nancy over here.
Nancy. Hi, Nancy.
If you talk into that mic, in theory, we should hear you.
I'm hoping I can come up with a question. It's
Would
so
you
good
just
to
stop
see you.
looking at him like that?
It's so good to see you.
How about we start with a hug?
Oh, he looks.
There we go. Yeah. I know. Yeah, this is just what
You want to ask a question about the?
Okay, go ahead. If you don't have a question, that's fine. Hug's fine.
I just want to know if are you working or what kind of work you're getting into? And we missed so much of the conversation.
I'm sorry.
Maybe I know.
No, we didn't touch on this actually, so it's a good
Okay,
question.
so I'm wondering what kind of work you're doing and what your plans are, because I think you graduated.
I
right?
did.
Yeah,
so
congratulations.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Graduated in June, and then have taken the summer, I'd say, to go on a lot of different adventures. And then I'm working on getting a job with a company called X2 Biosystems.
What's that?
X2 Biosystems. They're doing wearable sensors and focused on sports brain injury and concussion management.
Fabulous.
Yeah, so technology meets sports meets impact, making a difference. So
Very cool.
still not quite there, but
But it's a link. It's kind of a link to what you've done.
I think it makes sense in terms of my sort of background, and then sort of school, and then trying to push on that front a little bit.
Good to see you. Good luck.
Nancy, you too.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy. All right.
So this is the running wife over here.
Well, we've been at races before.
I know. I was going to bring up the mustache dash first.
You didn't, or you
I
didn't?
haven't yet.
Why not?
Because I figured you would.
Oh, no, that's awkward.
What race did you just do?
No, I just didn't beat the Birch.
Beat the Birch. Okay.
So call me.
Yeah.
I finished.
Did you beat the Birch?
I did. Coming off a year injury, so it's hard. Hip. Piriformis. Me and Percy Harmon had the same problem, but that's all right.
You're probably just as fast.
I'm totally just as fast.
That's awesome.
So what are you looking forward to most in New York?
14 most in New York. I think so. I was going through. This is the New York City Marathon.
Right.
I'm assuming you're asking about.
Yeah.
So I've never. I ran the Seattle Marathon last year.
Right. I saw you on Madison.
Madison. That's right.
See, now it's all coming back.
I also saw you here.
Because I had the sign run that shit.
Yeah.
But the one I'll tell you about was on Madison.
And you always do your laundry here, and you always do this, and you get your milk on the third Sunday. I'm sorry.
It was good. So for me, two things come to mind. First and foremost is running for grassroots soccer. It's something in between my first and second year of business school, I went and worked with grassroots soccer. I spent 2 months in Zimbabwe.
Right.
And so I think it's an organization that really connects with people and is really doing a lot of good. And so being out there with a team of 25, 30 other people who are there for the same reason is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I think the second thing that just hit me today was the magnitude of this race. I mean, I had no idea how many people run in the New York City Marathon.
It's like 40,000.
Yeah, but I got an email of logistics that was just like, taking buses and boats and, meeting in a certain borough and then everyone getting to Staten Island. And it was just like, what did I get myself into? I can't just go to Seattle Center and, take off my sweats and then go run.
Right.
Yeah.
Seattle's got to be a lot different than running in New York. I mean, I've never done it. My sister has twice.
She had good experience.
She did. She had. She ran it to run it, to finish, to do it.
Qualify. Wow.
She didn't. No, it's New York. You don't have to qualify.
It's Boston.
You have to Boston. So are you looking to
Chicago, you
qualify?
have to qualify too.
No, you have to qualify for Boston. Qualify for Boston. No, it's all lottery. So, is that something? Are you turning in to a marathoner?
I'm gonna push. I mean, whatever. I think this group knows better than any. Whatever I do, I push a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I am gonna push.
What do you think your time's gonna be?
I'm gonna try and break the 3 hour.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's what I'm gonna shoot for.
That's
so,
awesome.
I don't know if
Will
I'll
you
get
post
there.
your bib number so we can track you?
Yeah, I would be happy to.
That'd be awesome because the running community here is huge, and we all love. We all track each other all the time. So please, it'd be awesome. And I will be there with my heart.
And now, what's your next race?
Seattle.
Seattle.
Doing
Okay.
Seattle half.
Okay. And so that's end of November.
Thanksgiving weekend.
Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this Sunday. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
maybe I'll see you out there.
well, I'll be trudging. I'm a 2:30er for half, so
Got it.
we're going out to Leshai this weekend to do Leshai to Seattle Prep.
Okay.
To the Arboretum and stuff. So
Right. Yeah. So bits and pieces.
Bits and pieces.
You know what you're running, and it makes it a whole lot easier.
it makes it, and I got my friends this year to run it with me, and we're gonna run at my pace, which because I got some friends that are faster than I am, and we're getting shirts that said "No Amy Left Behind."
Perfect.
So it's all about running.
camaraderie
Well, and
that
it's all
comes with
about it's not. Yes, we're all super competitive, but we don't need to be. It's all about running and being with each other, and it's feet on the pavement. And
on that pavement. Right?
on that pavement. What kind of shoes do you wear?
Right now I'm in Nike.
Questions are done.
What?
Right now I'm in Nike.
Nike?
Yeah. If I'm trail running, I have a pair of Solomons, both of which are all everything's
Yeah.
beat up at this point. I'm a student.
Anytime
I
you
was
want
a
to come
student.
out and run Cougar Mountain,
I was there today.
I'm going tomorrow.
Are you?
Yes. Where's your friends at?
That's awesome. One thing
You are gorgeous. Quote of the night. Quote of the night.
Quote of the night, you are gorgeous.
That makes me happy.
Funny more where that came from.
So Coach said he was unable to make it tonight. He's tuning in a little bit late because he was having dinner with Kristen.
Is this Schmetz?
Yeah.
Christine.
Christine. Yeah. But he just shouted out a couple minutes ago.
So we just told him he's next on.
Hey, Coach.
All right, we got one more question here.
One more question.
Ryan Schmetzer. Hey. Heart you.
One more question. I know you graduated.
Yes.
And I know you're a maniac.
Yes.
Are you staying in this area?
Yes.
Sort of?
No.
You'll be traveling quite a bit?
So I went back home. My parents are still in Maine.
What part of Maine?
Just outside of Portland.
I'm from Boston, so I know the area.
Boston, okay.
Boston.
Yeah, I have I still have the accent. I still have the accent.
I have a sister in Richmond, Virginia. Her and her husband live there. Just had a baby. And so, but me, I think my family, my support system is out here in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle.
Seattle area. Are you playing Friday night?
I am not playing. I am not playing in the Legends game. I know. I am gonna be. I know. I'm gonna be in the new beer hall behind ECS.
Oh, nice.
I know. America Scores, Seattle Scores is having a fundraising event. Watching the national team. There'll be plenty of beer. Good people, some fun raffle items to win.
You're watching
So,
I'm going to that.
but I will be down. I will be down on the field with the group. I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing it.
Of course, once a sounder, always a sounder, right? No matter what. I mean, whether you love the Sounders or not, and I know you do, all the fans love you, so you just can't get away from that.
Yeah, it's a family.
Thank you.
From the players to the organization to the fans, coaching staff, it is. And that's one thing that's special about the Sounders.
Yes. Thank you. Can I have a hug?
Yes. I thought you never asked.
Do we have any other audience questions?
No, these are just the audience, so let's go back to these. We have a lot of them.
All right, so those of you who are in the chat room right now and can hear us,
If you want any questions, feel free to ask them now.
get them in now. We're going to go ahead and go to your reader questions right now while Hugo takes his phone out and starts buying a new mic.
I don't think that was that.
Yeah, I didn't mean
I think we have a lot of other problems going on today.
I just don't understand.
It was working.
It was working.
Yeah.
I know, I just...
But the sound was working for
Well,
one
you're
too.
fabulous. Thank you.
You might die later.
No, that won't work either.
Okay. All right. So
Are you guys done flirting over there?
Flirting. This marriage is on its way out.
it may die later. No. All right. So we have. We just told the chat room to ask us questions. We have a bunch of other lined up questions.
Okay.
So we're gonna ask a bunch of these.
Got it.
So we have a couple of questions here. I want to start out with this one because this is the most controversial probably one we have here.
Okay.
While I was walking around,
Yep.
they don't want to come up and actually ask this of you.
Okay.
But was also asked earlier. So I'm going to ask this in a two-parter.
No, I will not take off my pants.
Whoa. Team No
This
Pants
is
is a
Team No
thing.
Pants.
That is a thing. No Pants. Here, Roger, I'm going to show you. This is from the Open Cup.
While he's looking at this picture of him.
I think that's the one thing I didn't take off ever after a game.
With your pants?
My shorts, yeah.
So, we were asked, will you marry me?
How many
To
proposals?
you. But then I'm going to go follow up with that. And then we were also asked, would you bear the children of the people? So, to put it in a better frame of question, instead of that, do you get asked that a lot? Do you get asked, like, will you marry me or bear my children a lot? Or not to your face?
No.
Not to
Well,
my
let us
face.
tell you,
Generally in chat rooms.
I can
You've
tell
found that out
you.
a lot
That is
today.
the number one question by far.
And if you'd like them to line up,
Like, how many proposals have you gotten? Is there a number?
I would say in this situation would respectfully decline, but would be happy to have a beer, sit down and have a chat.
There, wow.
they give you a hug.
You should be in politics. Wow. That was a great
So
answer.
My vote.
so there is, that is Team No Pants in Philly. for the
See,
Open Cup.
well, okay. Well, I would get into that. Yeah, that's pretty good. I love it.
Well,
So
we'll tell you this.
where that started from
Yeah.
was
Oh, yeah,
we
story
went to
behind
the there is. We went to the San Jose game, right? Where I told you the Open Cup game, where SonarFeed
Keys are,
started.
Keys are saving.
That's where this started, right?
Yep.
Then we, not Hugo, but there was four of us, not including Hugo, who went to the Kansas City for the Open Cup final.
Yep.
Which was a terrible.
Kansas City got
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
at that Kansas City game, we decided to rent a convertible.
'Cause we're
I
smart.
I had points, so whatever, it's free. You know, it's not 106 degrees where it was a terrible day. It was hotter than hell. So we left the top down. We went in and we drank. We went to ECS's party. We marched to the march to the match. And as we're marching to the stadium, guess what happens in the Midwest? The whole sky opens up.
yeah,
Well, guess what
thunderstorm.
we did? We left the top down in the convertible. And we did a smash and grab, which meant we were wearing the clothes on our body and an extra pair of underwear, and that was about
That's all
it.
you had.
Pretty much.
So we got back to the car at the end of the night. We lost terribly, thanks to Ricardo Salazar. He also stole my first class upgrade on the way home.
And we
I'm
ended
not
up
joking,
drinking.
it's
We
totally
actually
serious.
ended up drinking with him that
And I
night.
bought him beers that night, because I'm an idiot.
That's
We
all
got
right.
to the car, and the seats were soaked, right? Because it rained for a couple hours, I mean, or whatever it was, an hour and a half, and it was like pouring down rain. So I took my shorts off, threw them in the trunk.
No. Let's tell him the way it happened. He actually
That's good.
nonchalantly, in the middle of conversation, dropped trowel, opened up the trunk, folded up his shorts very neatly, and put them.
I don't want any creases in there.
My shorts. So anyways, that was where Team No Pants in our group came from.
Okay.
So, all right. So then another question here. So
Yep.
moving on from that one.
Yep.
Were you born awesome, or was there an actual moment where
Evolution of
awesomeness
it.
came?
Yeah.
I'm gonna,
That was twice, by the way.
Yeah, it was twice.
whatever awesome means, whatever I am, I think is a direct result of mom and dad.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, pictures.
Oh,
I gotta go home and take care of the dogs.
no problem.
all right, I'll see you later.
Have a fantastic day.
I wanted to stalk.
Run that shit. That's my one.
Will do.
Run that shit.
Really
Bye,
fast.
babe. See ya.
I mean,
I'll be home later.
I think
So your parents?
Yeah, well, parents, older sister, people over the years, perspective.
Yeah.
I think whatever I am is a direct result of relationships and then all the experiences that I've had and the people that I've been around.
Which,
So,
I mean, you're a young guy. I mean, we're not old, but you're a young guy, and that's a pretty, forward-thinking thought to have for someone who's 33. To have that kind of a thought and process, because that usually happens, in your 40s or 50s or whatever. You start to realize.
I'm just now starting to come into that.
Right.
Now.
You had the big 40-40 club this year.
41.
Oh, already? Oh, that's right.
Yeah, no, I
Sorry, Lee.
Yeah, no, I'm 40 this year, this coming year.
Wow,
2015?
you guys.
Huh?
2015, big
40.
4-0.
Yeah. So, but that's a thought. I mean, that's something that it comes from. You have wisdom. My father, I got married young. I got married when I was 23.
Okay.
And my father-in-law made a comment during his father-in-law speech where he called us old souls. And some of the people at the wedding later, some of my family, who
People that snorkel are not old souls.
they called it. They were like, "What do you mean?" To me, it was a compliment. Someone like yourself, what you're saying there, it is. It's about the people you meet. It's about the interactions you have. It's about the good, the bad, the positive, the negative. You take all that into. I mean, you and U23s, and you got injured. You could have taken that and been all pissed off and whatever, but you took it and turned it into an amazing career. Not everyone can do that. Not everybody
just
can
an
do
amazing career, but the hope and joy that you put into people's lives that you touch. I'm sorry, it's a little sappy, and I hate doing this crap. But
He doesn't like this crap. No.
You put so much joy into people's lives.
You do.
Just by, I can't tell you, this guy right here sitting next to you went all apeshit girl when he saw you in the beer garden.
Fanboy.
No, it was pretty fangirly.
It was fangirl. It was fangirl.
No, I know I was drunk, but I was like,
Roger,
I've seen Roger before, it's fine.
It'll be all right.
But the experiences that you come out with, you have a smile on your face everywhere you go, and just to see all the joy from the people that you touch, like Sarah tonight. I mean, one of her questions is, does Roger hold babies? Well, we know the answer to that. Yes, of course. You stick a baby in Roger's face, it's gonna.
He held me earlier. I was like, oh.
I think Arlo was the baby's name. I think he was right on the verge of crying now.
It's nothing to do with you. It's the facial hair. I had the same problem, like little Arlo story. So I had the beard was grown out. I had it for like a while, and I went and shaved. Like he wouldn't come near me. I went and shaved, and it's like, oh, it's good to see you again, Lee. It's like I love you again. So.
All right. So Dan asked if he was. Would you be interested in playing for the Barra FC team?
Barra FC team.
So the Barra Fuerza Verde is the Latino subgroup I mentioned about.
One of our subgroups.
Yeah.
And they need players to play for the Barra FC team as part of the ECS Pub League or whatever. Not Pub League, but
So they're looking for a keeper.
This is actually pretty good. So I was at a luncheon on Friday. It was Robert Basson Foundation. They raise money and donate, or put it into kids who want to play sports who don't necessarily have that opportunity.
Sure.
And then it's education too. Ziggy was the guest speaker.
Nice.
And so I'm front and center looking. Ziggy's going through his speech, and Ziggy's. He was great. He was so good, and some touching moments, very compassionate, and just talking about the people that influenced his life, and it gave me a little bit of perspective on Zig, and he was magical. But at one point in his speech, a little lighter moment early on, he said something about talking about the defense, and a lot of people questioning bleeding goals a little bit. And he's like talking about players. He's like. Looking for, and if anyone out there can play in the defense, he's like, Roger, not you. I've seen you play in the defense. And no, absolutely not. So, goalkeeper, probably about the same.
That's awesome. But it's good that you still have that relationship.
Yeah.
And, I have a feeling that he is always going to be somebody in your life that at the most random times, you're going to get that.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a Aaron question?
This is an Aaron question that I forgot to write down.
Okay.
You've seen the Levy Films Sounders thing, right? You know, the Levy film. Scott Levy did Levy did the.
Yeah, so I haven't.
You haven't seen it?
Oh,
I haven't seen
okay.
it. No.
Do you not have an internet connection?
I know. Living in the dark ages over here.
He's a student. Gotta give him a break.
Uh-huh.
All right, so we'll hook you up with a copy. It's worth watching.
Okay, so now that you say something,
it really is worth watching.
I'll check it out.
But I got to from this, and you'll understand more when you watch it.
Okay.
It like opens up where I had my daughter. She was 9, 10, almost. She was just turned 10 at the time, watching this with me. Yep. And it opens up with pretty much an unedited version of Ziggy in his locker room at RSL.
Yeah.
So,
and there's a lot of
you don't have to
things
answer again. This is back to the you don't have to answer this.
I think I remember that. I remember that speech. I could not forget it.
Was that did that happen a lot? Not from him, but in general, from coaches. I mean, did you get that because man,
dude, I was scared.
It was scary. Like it was kind of
I felt like
in
I
a
was
good
young
way
again.
It did. Yeah, it did. Me too.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
That's the answer right there.
That was a great. I mean, maybe it's exactly what we need. We needed as a group. We walk. You walk into. There's specific moments when we walk in for at halftime or end of games, and it's just like it wasn't. It wasn't good enough. And I mean, obviously the team holds themselves to a higher expectation, but I think sometimes you need to be reminded of that every once in a while. And I think Zig, with his experience, he picks and chooses. But knows when is the right moment. So I would love to. I'd love to go back and see what was actually like.
It was pretty.
Dude,
It was intense.
It was intense.
I like when you started.
Like we basically were sitting there in the locker room with you guys.
I loved when it was like 20 people.
So I'd be curious to see, after you watch it. But it's to me, it's about do you have ownership as a player, etc. But
everyone's got to be accountable.
They do.
So outside of Ziggy, and then Brian Schmetzer, who I hope you're listening
still on
right
there,
now.
Coach.
Another moment. So we're playing this is the USL moment. Brian Schmetzer's the head coach. I think it's probably maybe 2007, the playoffs that year. I think we're playing Montreal. I don't know. Whatever.
Montreal.
We're playing at Starfire, but we have a stinker. We give up 2 goals in the last 10 minutes. And everyone's a little bit down. And Schmetz is clearly upset. But we all get in the locker room first, and we're kind of waiting. I'm sitting next to another Sounder legend in his own right, a guy named Danny Jackson, who a phenomenal player for the Sounders. And on our way in, a fan had given me a package of little chocolate soccer balls, and so I'm sitting there with Danny. And we're like, I think it was the home of a home and away, and we needed to go there. So we're in there just kind of eating chocolate, chatting, and Schmetz comes steaming in, and he starts pointing at people, exactly like you said Ziggy did, pointing at people, calling people out, and you, and he looks at Danny, he's like, Danny, when you're the captain, stop eating chocolates and do your effing job. And Danny and I are like mid-chocolate, oh, okay. Yeah, sorry, Schmetz.
No.
Classic.
We're gonna actually relive this with him. We're gonna have him act this out when he's on the show.
I think following that speech, I think we ended up going to Montreal, winning, and then coming back in and winning a championship that year.
All right, so on that note, sorry, that just popped in my head.
Yep.
Always popping in your head.
That's good. I love
the whiskey. No, I'm sorry. The whiskey helps.
Yeah, it does.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Trust me, our best conversations happen with whiskey.
No question.
He should be a coach in the MLS.
Brian Schmetzer?
Yeah. Right? I mean, there's no doubt about it. Right? I mean, he would be. He's got because you were under him for years.
Yep.
He's got every quality you want and you need. Granted, I think he's in a good place, etc. But I mean, and I don't know that I'd ask him this directly. Sorry, coach, but I think this would be off my limits for there. But as someone who played for him. And as a fan of his here, I don't want him to leave. But when he had a chance to interview for the jobs, I don't know why he's not an MLS coach somewhere else.
I think there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, it's obviously a relationship. You know, it's organizational. You know,
Other than that,
it's
yeah,
vision.
sure.
It's. I mean, Bri he's a legend here in Seattle. I mean, he's got this. You know, he's got this beautiful woman named Christine, and it's. You know, I think. I mean, for me, Brian. You know, I would play for him any day, and I think has the ability to coach at that level. You know, I think it's just going to end up being the right situation when he finally does make the jump.
He interviewed this year in Dallas. We know that. There was a lot that came out of that conversation. We don't know all the specifics, of course. We'll get that up when he's on the show.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sure he'll tell us all about the negotiation process.
But I think you nailed it on the head, though. I mean, I think it is. It comes down to there's a lot of other factors that go into it.
Yeah,
it's
big picture. Yeah,
So, but he's got the quality.
Like that.
I guess really what I was trying to say though is that from a player, you played for him. He has all those right skills. He has all those right opportunities. But I'd like to see him here, maybe. I'd like to see him. Maybe one day.
Right.
Not that I want to get rid of Siggy anytime soon, but
Well, I mean, I think that's the.
Later, brother.
I think that's kind of the interesting thing, though. Is I mean, Siggy and Brian are very different coaches, very different people.
I think this is maybe a learning process for Brian too.
Sure.
You know, he was successful at the USL level, and and I mean, does deserve a shot, and it's just a matter of time when that is.
When that's right. Yeah.
But I think Ziggy is, I mean, the most knowledgeable. He's like, you think about, premier coaches in the United States, and Ziggy is.
Let's ask Roger. Roger, what's the Soccer Hall of Fame? The U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame?
Where is the Soccer Hall of Fame? Oneonta, New York?
No, it's not. It's in a warehouse in Newport News, Virginia,
really?
because they closed it.
Did they close the Oneonta one?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I nailed that.
You actually had it. You did have it.
But no.
There's been lots of discussions about how do you recapture that and bring it back.
Well, I mean, I think Soccer City USA, Portland, they should have it.
Wow. All right, so we're at the end, kind of the show.
Got it.
I got a few more funny questions left.
Okay.
That are good. Do you guys have any
No,
more
I will
questions?
not marry you.
No.
I already clarified that.
That's not.
Sorry, honey, it's off.
That's not funny. That's serious. Well, I guess my question would be if you had to think about the one moment as a Sounder, and I don't care what, if it was USL, MLS. I mean, for me, the day that the franchise was announced, I was in Phoenix. I was 2007 November. I was in Phoenix. On a waiting list from a conference on my BlackBerry, God forbid.
Yeah.
What is your favorite moment in a soccer uniform?
Favorite moment in a soccer uniform? I mean, most of there was many games, which are are very, very awesome memories. But most of the time I end up without my uniform on as I'm walking around the stadium. I think, in terms of like special moments for me, I think about recent history, MLS. I think about that first Open Cup championship. It was in DC. It's a group that, there needed to be a special bond there in order for it to work, because there were guys from all walks of life. You have the expansion draft, you have the USL guys, you have the Freddie Monteros, you have and it was like somehow it was a group, we needed to figure that out. And we had a lot of direction, it was great coaching staff, and but when it came together in that first championship, Ziggy's always talked about be the first team to do this, be the first team to do that. And so, in terms of MLS, that first championship, it was even more special. I have vivid images of the ECS up on the third level, thinking that's going to topple.
Dude, you should have been there, man. I remember in the second half, I actually got, because they were all on the edge, right on the ledge. I actually moved up to the top rail because I was like, we were just bouncing so hard, and you could just see the pigeon shit bouncing off the ropes. It was amazing. But that was a great game. That was seeing you and all the guys, you know, Freddie and the other Freddie, that other guy. The
equally as important in this whole the thing that has been the sound
ecosystem.
So let me ask you something. It's almost like a two-part question. Maybe even three.
Oh, you're gonna be like Aaron now?
No, neither. No. So you mentioned a little bit when you mentioned ECS at the top.
Yep.
So with that's something that's unique to soccer is the supporter culture.
Yep.
Just how much does a supporter group like ECS, like Ibarra, Fuerza Verde, or the other supporter groups, how much has it actually impacted you in a game? Do you recall a game moment where you're like, you sense like, you know, there's a little bit of a lull, and all of a sudden you get close to the section and you see the flags, or you hear the chanting, or you see the logo? How much has that impacted where you see it does make that much of a difference? And the second part question would be that even going to the USL days and going into the USL league currently, do you think it's something that will keep growing, and it's something that we need to really, I don't know, cultivate? I know we are, you know, something that you say. What I want to basically across is, would you say to an average fan that is a fan, they buy the jerseys, they go to a few games, but they're not a supporter, they don't go to all the games, would you say it does make enough of a difference where you do appreciate the fans that go on road trips, like we have gone on road trips, where you say, you know what, yes, it's that much of a difference maker?
I mean, for me, it's huge, and I think any player, you know, who has played in Seattle or has played, you know, like thinking about the Chivas Seattle game down, you know, most recent one down in LA. I mean, it's atmosphere, it's energy. I think, you know, it's more apparent, you know, as a player, it's you know, it ends up being background, but it's a general roar and a general energy that you feed off of as a player. You know there's exciting stuff going on. You know when the crowd's into it. And here in Seattle, it's I mean by far the best energy to feed off of. I mean, anywhere in the States.
68,000 of your closest friends will do that to you.
I mean, it's
But even when you're on the road, though, you're a Chivas and you have 5,000 people there, and 300 of them are from Seattle. Or like this coming in 2 weeks when we're in LA, it'll be 27,000 people for Landon's final game, but 300 plus people will be at ECS. But do you hear ECS at that point, or is it kind of like you said? It's a little bit of background noise, but you know they're there and you understand the support, so you hear them even if you can't hear them.
Yeah, I mean it's the passion. It's looking up and seeing the sea of green. I mean, walking into. I mean, one of the best examples of this is walking into Portland. Cheldwen, we walk down this hill. We're getting berated by everybody. You know, the bus is coming in. Or, you know, people are making rude gestures. You know, and we get out. We walk down this hill, and then come around the corner and in the stadium, and it's just like, you know, the upper left, it's just like, oh my god, this is awesome. And that, like, so immediately I can tell you every one of the players who walks around that corner is switched on and like, all right, you know, this not only means something to us, but you know, however many thousand of people who are here, whoever is back home who couldn't make the trip, this means it's more than just, you know, our own individual sort of, you know, wanting to play the game.
Now that Hugo's throwing it out, before Aaron gets to the next set of questions, I'm going to put you on the spot. This year in December.
I'm sorry, I tried to avoid this. Sorry.
This year in December, we're going to have our third annual FIFA tournament. Which there's a guy, you might know him. He's from South.
From Federal Way.
Federal Way.
Wait, is it 253?
Tacoma, T-Town.
Well, no.
Federal Way.
So there's this guy. His name's Lamar Nagel. I don't know if you've heard of him. He plays for the South.
Maybe once or twice. Banging goals with both feet.
So we were fortunate enough that Lamar has partnered with us now 2 years in a row, and we would love for you to come out in December to. I'm going to say it's his tournament now because he pretty much owns that shit.
He does.
But we have a great time here at the barn. It's a great time to raise money. Last year we raised $2,200 for Lamar's charity. We would love to get your charities thrown in there too. Split it evenly. So we know we have your support. You're going to be here, right?
Yeah.
Well, you might go, but the problem is it's right before Christmas, so you might be home, right?
Okay. So do you have an exact date?
I do.
Oh, we do.
20th, I think, of December. So the only problem is that it's a little bit later this year because of the Hawks games.
Okay.
We'll take a recorded message if we have to.
The 21st. It's Sunday the 21st. So I'm guessing you might be.
And I'm going to tell you right now, Roger, I am flying all the way back from Southeast Asia to be here for that.
Are you going to have a mustache? Or?
I probably will.
If you have a mustache, we know you might go home, so that's where.
If it's within my means, I would love to partake and just. So I can tell you right now, I'm terrible. I'd be
You don't have to
terrible.
play.
I would love to play.
We
but I'm
can
gonna
sit
be
up here and
terrible.
drink beer with us because that's what we do.
I play FIFA, but I don't really play it, so I drink.
Now, the competition here gets a little
It's
crazy.
pretty strong.
But
It's got to be awesome.
Lamar.
There's some pretty really good.
Dude, especially the young kids, man. You get like,
oh yeah.
So every year we have the Sounders, the Academy kids or the former Academy kids coming out,
yeah.
like Justin Solomon,
McKay, Dom Dispute comes down.
These guys are good.
Oh yeah.
they're on the sticks nonstop.
And Lamar though, man, he is.
It's his tournament for a reason.
Yeah, he pretty much
because he owns it.
We quick, I'm gonna throw another one, put you on the spot. You're at home in ECS. I know, like your last game, you're up there for hours after the game, man. So I want to invite you to come down to 121. It's part of ECS. We're the La Barra Fuerza Verde section. So we're just left of the center section. We'd love to have you down there, man, in our section, leading our section in one of the matches, man. So any game in the near future, come down, dude, and we'll have you even capping down there. Oh my
I
God.
was gonna say I may leave the cackling to you, but I will definitely come down and hang for sure. I love to.
That'd be dope, man. That'd be dope, man.
All right, Roger, we're gonna go
rapid fire.
Rapid fire,
and then we're done.
Okay.
Hear this.
Okay.
All right.
If you were a professional baseball player, what music would be your bat music?
It would be Journey.
Oh!
Stop believing.
All right.
Okay, follow-up question. If you were going to sing karaoke now, because it starts in about a half hour, what karaoke song would you sing?
Every Rose Has Its Thorn by Poison. We both last time was still in the dead of the night.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
So can we
hang on. When you see Ebony and Ivory,
This is real life that just happened.
As long as you leave.
oh, I'll be Ebony. Don't you worry.
We might have to talk about how long you're staying tonight. No, okay.
All right, next one.
Aaron Reed, who is the co-president of ECS currently, said, "Can I have a hug?"
He's not been shy about the
That
hugs
was his
tonight.
question.
Everybody gets
I
a
assume
hug.
the answer is yes.
Answer is absolutely yes. I'm going to give you one of these right now.
All right, and then Joshua has two questions. First one is, who is the sounderiest sounder that ever sounded?
Zach Scott.
Oh, there you go, Joshua.
And
300.
300.
Yeah. And
Are you the?
Bye, Nancy.
Take care.
Bye, Nancy. Thanks for coming.
What would Roger do?
anything and everything.
All right.
All right.
And then, in the final question, I suppose here.
This
Sarah.
is a two-part question, by the way.
It is.
It is because what is your favorite cookie? That's part one.
Okay.
Part two is what is your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
Oh.
So favorite cookie, Gail Graham, Taylor Graham's mom used to make these amazing chocolatey craisin oatmeal cookies in college. She used to bring them down after every game. So fond spot in my heart for that. Girl Scout cookie, Thin Mint, in the freezer.
Team Thin Mint. Team Thin Mint. All right, that's
okay. So we're about 12 minutes past 9. Apologize for being late.
No
but
worries.
Roger, I mean, I can't even tell you. I mean, that was.
We all grateful, dude. This is,
it was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
You're a Sounders legend in so many regards. I mean, so thank you for spending a few minutes with us. Oh, but I have one more thing. I do have one more thing.
Can I say that? Thank you for having me on. Aaron, Lee, you go. You guys are rad.
Yeah.
SonarFeed. I really, really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. If I can make the FIFA tournament, I would love to sit up there and drink some beers with you and then just hang. So
We would love to have you here.
You're always welcome to come down to an away game or whatever. Or if you come back down on the show.
We call it 121. 121.
121.
Yeah, we'll come down if you can come back on the show when we get our IT guy to actually fix our sounds.
Yeah.
And maybe get the crowd more involved.
One job. One job.
Would love to. Anytime you guys want me to come on.
All right. So one last thing.
Yep.
One last piece of business is that the Berliner would like to make you an honorary Stein member.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
No. That's too
So
much.
right here, you have your own Berliner Pub Stein.
Boom.
That's for Roger Levesque.
Yeah.
And you also have your own Berliner Pub Stein member shirts.
And
or be a Stein member, which we are all Stein members.
Is that something I can put on right now?
Absolutely.
not only that, we're going to make you take a picture with Greg.
So Greg's the bar manager here, or the manager, general manager. We'll call him whatever you want to call him today.
That's Greg.
Greg.
I like it. Come up and thank you in a second.
So we'll let you change off camera. Or is he on camera?
No, he's
On.
Crass, calm down. Whoa. No. You're fine. For those that are wondering, this is Roger Levesque. I see a few of you looking around. Sounders legend. Sounders legend. Sounders legend. Sounders legend.
All right, so at this point,
We're going to shut this down.
we're going to go ahead and end the show and let you go talk to your
peoples.
Dorian fans.
Your peoples.
But thank you again for joining us.
Can I do this?
You can,
yeah,
yes, you may.
Listen.
Yes, you may.
Can I do
In fact, you know what?
I see.
We
I
can
failed.
actually get them to fill that up for you.
I should have given it to you before.
Dude,
Cheers.
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 Cheers. Hey, fellas, cheers. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Memories on the field and now memories off the field. It means a lot to us. So thank
It
you so
really
much.
does, dude.
It does.
So
I don't know if you know, we're a little passionate.
we are. We're a little crazy, but we're a little passionate. So
Like my first match in ECS was the Chelsea York last game, dude. Being there, like I was like,
oh really?
yeah, dude, that was my first.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was it. That was my first match in ECS. Before that, I'd been in 117, but I
That
actually
was your first.
in ECS, yeah. And like just, dude, seeing you come back, take off the jersey, hang in there with everybody, dude. I was hooked, and ever since I was like, man, I want to be here. I want to be here all the time. I got my tickets moved to that section, so big impact, man.
We definitely want to see you.
So we do have
Love to see you again.
We
talk
want
to
to
you
see,
again.
not only that, we want to hear about what's next time you're here. I mean, this is a lot of legend talk. 40th season for the Sounders, we totally get that. Next time you're on, though, not just your charity, but what's next for Roger? Because that's something that we as fans don't get to see. Is what happens to athletes when they do decide to retire. And I think we would definitely like to talk about that with you and really understand how that transformation is.
And also we want to make sure, if you can, you got the links to the team for
We're gonna do it up,
so we'll send it out.
We're gonna try and raise $600. $300 from us, $300 from the fans, or more, and make it happen.
Every little bit counts. So I mean, the fact that you
wanna
guys
get your
are into
$3,000
it is awesome.
We're actually pretty good at coming up with money for some reason. We do a fairly good
I have
job.
no idea why, but we do.
So since we started the show, we're at like $7,000.
$7,000.
And just charity.
Just charity. It's fun.
That's
Now our bar bill is about 3 times that.
So we're giving back to the people.
All right. So we're gonna log off. And we're gonna get a picture with Marcus, and then we're gonna let you go out and do your stuff. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Man, dude.
That was fun.
That was fun. It doesn't mean that
Black and white, black and white, black and white, black and white, clear as crystal. You lose, good day, now you lose, yes, good day, Incendium gloria culpum memo bis punitor della etc. You're a swindler. Wrong, sir. Wrong. You're a cheat. Wrong, sir. Wrong. You're a swindler. Wrong, sir. Wrong. And you're a nut, sir. Good day. Good day. Now you lose. Get 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 37 beep if I full static copy. 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 You stole nothing. You what? You stole nothing. You what? You stole nothing. You what? Chocolate? Wrong. You lose. Black and white. Black and white. Oh there. 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 Mr. Luca. I said. Mr. Luca. I said. Mr. Luca. I said. I said. I said. Mr. Luca. Mr. Luca. I said. I said. Mr. Luca. I said. I said. I said. Good day.
Well, when does he get it?
He doesn't.
Why not?
Because he broke the rules.
What rules? We didn't see any rules, did we, Charlie?
Wrong, sir.